Hey, it's December the 3rd, 2025. And thought I'd do a quick episode here because a friend of mine tells me that the comic shop I work at, they just got a bunch of Vampirellas and let me know which ones are missing. So I said, well, I started going through my Vampirellas last week, but got distracted. So I guess I'll just start over and go through them all. And perhaps that will provide entertainment for some of you fellows out there in television land. It hasn't snowed in a few days, but the snow's still on the ground. I was trapped in my driveway. I couldn't get out because the snow plows had put up a wall of snow, and I didn't realize that my father's shovel, Vietnam War era Army shovel, probably isn't the best thing for snow. And I've never had a snow shovel. So I walked to the supermarket and bought the last snow shovel, started snow shoveling and to try to get my car out of the driveway. And then the neighbor saw that I was doing that, and someone else driving by saw that and offered to help. And the neighbor got a chain, pulled my car out, then said, "You can park your car in front of my shop." And then another neighbor shows up with his truck with a plow mounted on the front of it and clears my driveway. And he says, "I would have done this a couple days ago, but I was out of town." And so all of a sudden, all these blessings happen and all this wonderful neighborliness happens, and now my car is freed. And it's a good thing because I got it in the garage because it's going to get really cold tonight. It's going to get down to -1 degree. It's going to break some records for December the 3rd. So it's snowy. It looks like there's a full moon, but I can't really tell because every day my vision gets worse, man. I mean, seriously. And it gets to the point, if you have cataracts, when you put your glasses on, it looks exactly the same as when they're off. It doesn't correct your vision at all because your vision's so messed up by the cloudiness or whatever. So anyway, I'm going in for surgery Monday on this eye, the following Tuesday on this eye, and then that's supposed to fix everything. So hopefully that's the case. Am I a little nervous about it? Yes, I have to admit. I shouldn't be. Everyone says it's all fine, but they say one thing that makes cataracts worse is drinking sugar beverages. And I try to kick them, and I was drinking iced tea, but then I don't have iced tea because I couldn't get to the supermarket. So I don't know. So anyway, you don't want to hear about my problems, or maybe you do. I don't know. I've got to go all the way to the basement to get a can opener to open this. Not a can opener, a bottle opener. See, I'm losing my mind. Okay, so let's go do that. Okay. Oh boy. So how have you guys been? So, I don't know. Will I do another show before I go in to have that procedure done? I don't know. Maybe I'll do one Saturday. It's not for me to say. Que sera, sera. Whatever will be, will be. I don't know. It's not like I have that much to really show you. But maybe I can take something up that will entertain you. I don't know. I saw a comic book person last night who was opening up boxes of comics that he had bought, probably in the tens of thousands of dollars of comics that he had just purchased. And then he was showing a few of them. He says, "I'm not going to let you see what's in these boxes yet. This is just a preview of what I'm going to show you later." So it was an unboxing tease which I think is a new way to do the whole YouTube thing. There was a bottle opener here. Ah, yes, indeed. This, I think this was my older brother's. This was Seven Seas was an amusement park in Arlington, Texas. That was it wasn't a water park. It wasn't where you get in your swimsuit and go down water slides, but it was a water themed park where they would have dolphins dancing around doing tricks and a pirate ship and, you know, all kinds of fish type creatures, but not where you could actually get in the water, I don't think. And that was around 1972. I think 10 years after Six Flags started, it was opened as kind of a sister park to it. Didn't last but a few years. I think it was gone by 1975. Seven Seas. For years, they kept the little pirate ship there next to the Texas Rangers baseball stadium. But eventually, I think that disappeared as well. And now I still have this little souvenir to allow me to open bottles, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. Just a moment. There's a recently made documentary about Mad Magazine. I think it's called When We Were Mad or something like that. I don't know. For a while it was on streaming. You had to pay for it. And I remember when it was premiering in some theater somewhere, not where I live. And anyway, it's now on YouTube, so you could probably find it by typing in Mad Magazine. I started watching it. It seems okay. I mean, it's all right. I could have done it better, but I didn't do it. All right. What? Where's the bottle? I took the bottle downstairs and brought this up, but left the bottle downstairs. Okay. We're going back downstairs, ladies and gentlemen. See, this is how you get exercise when it's 6 degrees outside. You walk back and forth opening soft drinks or soda, as they're called here in this part of the country. Or is it pop? Some parts of the country, they call it soda pop. I think Captain Strangelife in Chicago, he calls it soda pop or sody pop. And then I could have sworn back in Texas, everyone just said soft drinks. But what the Coca-Cola Bottling Corporation doesn't want you to do is to call all these drinks Cokes, because then they could potentially lose the copyright on their the name, the product. I don't know, some kind of lawyer thing. You don't want Coke to just become a generic term for all sugar. Well, they don't put sugar in most stuff. Maybe Robert Kennedy will change that, but you know, this is a import from Mexico, where they still use sugar instead of that. What do they call it? That corn syrup. And so when they use the real sugar, it tends to taste more like the stuff used to until the 1970s. Okay. I found out someone has put out a soundtrack album for a movie called Flush Gordon. It came out right about the time that Young Frankenstein came out. I think it came out maybe the summer of '74. Remember, my older brother was in college, and I was going into 4th grade, and he would tell me about this movie. He didn't tell me much about the movie, which is good because it's not an appropriate movie for 4th graders. But it was a parody of Flash Gordon. Now, you know, Mel Brooks' Young Frankenstein came out about the same time, a parody of the Universal horror movies, and it looked like a Universal horror movie. even though it's set in the 70s and Gene Wilder had long hair. The cinematography, the black and white photography, it looked like a classic Universal horror film. The music, everything was done spot on. Oh, that looks really good. Extend your pinky when you're drinking. Anyway, so Flash Gordon, this parody of Flash Gordon was, look at the little kitten back there, man. He's nuts. So they're making this not very family-friendly parody of the Flash Gordon comic strip and the movie serials from the 30s. And it's called Flesh Gordon, so you can imagine it's a naughty version, right? Filmed in color, which the original serial wasn't in color, but of course the Sunday comic strips by Alex Raymond were in beautiful color. So I guess the rumor spread that they're making this Flash Gordon parody, and all these really talented young people showed up wanting to work on it because they figure this is the closest there ever is going to be to having a real Flash Gordon movie. Of course, there turned out to be one 6 years later that came out in 1980 from Dino De Laurentiis, which was a pretty darn good movie. It wasn't perfect, but you could tell that the people that produced the Flash Gordon 1980 Dino De Laurentiis movie had seen the earlier in the 70s Flash Gordon movie, because there's a lot of things they did very similarly. Anyway, when I first was able to see Flash Gordon years later, the opening credits sequence, the music, I thought it was from a film library. I thought it was like actual old film music from the 30s. It sounded just like the music you would have heard at the beginning of the Flash Gordon serial. It sounded, which of course, the Flash Gordon serials, there were 3 of them. They reused a lot of music that was in the Buster Crabbe Flash Gordon movie serial from Bride of Frankenstein. And then they also used some classical music, Franz Liszt. Anyway, the opening title music to Flash Gordon is fantastic. It's so great and stirring, and it sounds just like it was done by Universal in the classic days of Universal. And that's what makes it funnier. When you do a parody, you don't want to have silly music. You want to have serious music. You want to play it straight, and it's funnier, which is why Leslie Nielsen, who was a straight man actor, also in Hollywood, he's always like the real serious guy. And so the Zucker brothers got him to be in Airplane, and then later in the Police Squad TV series that was spun into the Naked Gun movies. And he was really funny because he played it seriously, but then he got the impression, he kind of left working with those guys, Leslie Nielsen, the actor, and he thought, well, I'm just a funny guy. People think I'm funny. And so he started making these movies like Dracula Dead and Loving It and all these other movies that, without them. And he started to mug and act silly and do funny faces, and then he wasn't funny anymore because he didn't understand why he was funny. People were laughing because it was a guy acting very seriously and saying something inane, like, don't call me Shirley. It's perfectly deadpan. And so that's how comedy works. That's why the Police Squad TV series didn't work, even though it was really funny, is because it was on television. It didn't have a laugh track and had really serious 1960s type music. And when you're at home and you don't have a soundtrack, people that aren't very smart and don't have a sense of humor say, well, this isn't funny. I don't hear any people laughing on my television. But when you do the same thing and you play the movie, the Police Squad or Naked Gun movies, in a theater, they hear the other people in the crowd and the audience laughing. So, oh, this is really funny. Look, I hear people laughing, so it must be funny. I don't get it because I'm stupid, but I know it's funny, so I better pretend to laugh too. And I'll memorize everything they're saying, and I'll say it at school or at work for the next 6 weeks, several years, and everyone will think I'm funny. Like all these people, remember how funny Monty Python and the Holy Grail was when you're in junior high? It's still funny. But when you watch, but when you have all these people in your school cafeteria repeating every line from Monty Python and the Holy Grail, all during lunch for the next several years, they're not funny. But they think they're funny because they're saying the things they said on the screen. They do the same thing. But back when Saturday Night Live was funny in the 70s, these people would come to school Monday morning, they had everything memorized. I think they probably got their cassette recorder and recorded the show and memorized all the jokes so they could be funny too. But it didn't work for them, but they didn't get it. My point is, there's a CD, I think it might be a CDR, like a burned CD, with the Flesh Gordon soundtrack by, and I forget the guy that recorded, the guy that composed the music also did the music for like Star Trek 4, I think the one where with the whales, and he's done all kinds of Hollywood movies. He's done the scores for, but this theme to Flesh Gordon, and he did a lot of music during the movie. You know, he did the score for the movie. What am I trying to say? Oh, okay. So they got a really great composer, and then they got all these stop motion animation guys coming in that later worked on The Empire Strikes Back and The Terminator and everything. These were young guys, and they say, "Hey, they're making a Flash Gordon movie over here. Come on!" And so they get people like Dennis Muren and everything. Some of them didn't use their real names because they knew it was a movie that their parents wouldn't be happy they were working on. But everyone found out later, and so this movie winds up with stop motion animated monsters almost on par with Ray Harryhausen and great music. And because all these people are coming in thinking, hey, we're working on a Flash Gordon movie, but it's really just a skin flick. And then when years later in late 80s or early 90s, the same guy that made Flash Gordon, the same director, made a sequel. And it was terrible because he didn't have all those people backing him up, making it really look like a Flash Gordon movie. I'm going to put this music on. Now, I might get a copyright claim, and then I'll have to take the music off. But I'm just wondering if this music works, because then I could put it on my my radio show. But I'm just going to play this, and you can hear how close this sounds to a Universal horror. I'm not Universal horror, just a Universal action, film from the 30s. I don't want to play it too loud because my wife's upstairs working, but let me get the phone closer to it. See, doesn't that sound just like a classic movie serial? I'm getting this right off YouTube. That just gives you goosebumps, whatever the hell you call them. Yeah, they had to put not to be confused with the original Flash Gordon. I saw someone was writing on the internet saying that his mother took him to the drive-in to see what they thought was a Flash Gordon movie. They thought the newspaper had just had a typo, and it turned out to be this movie. And he said that his mother went ahead and stayed with him through the movie. He was like in 4th grade, and they just promised never to tell anyone else in the family that they had watched this movie. Here they're trying to make the poster look like Star Wars a few years later. So it's this is the guy, Ralph Ferraro. So that's what the CD looks like. Flash Gordon, the original soundtrack by Ralph Ferraro. How about that, ladies and gentlemen? So I'm not really sure how to obtain that CD, but I'll when I find out, I'll let you know. But for right now, I can just record the music right off YouTube, which is and there's the Mad documentary I was telling you about. It's called When We Went Mad. Let's see. So that's another thing you can check out if you're fans of Mad Magazine. It's from, how about that? It has a quote from William Blake at the beginning. And then they have a quote from Alfred Newman that's really witty.
I'm not familiar with this. What is Mad Magazine?
Yeah, Gilbert Gottfried, God bless him, he was great. Okay, enough of this. So you can watch that on your own time. Okay, so we're going to go through Vampirellas today. Did I mention that? So I know which ones I have. How about that? There's a book out of artwork by Bruce Timm, horror art, like I'm sure pictures of monsters and Vampirella and stuff. Bruce Timm being the, well, I know him as an animation artist that was the main guy behind Batman the Animated Series in the 90s. I've always loved his artwork. Lately, he did a series, I think in the last year or two, that was really horrible. No, it was probably about 3 years ago. A new Batman series that was all politically correct, and I kind of don't like that he had actually worked on that, but you know, I guess you got to bring home food for your family. So I won't get too upset with him about that, but that's where the Penguin was a girl. You know, it's like, why exactly did you do that? Really, what was the point of that? That's the type of decision that they did there. Okay, let's go through Vampirella, man. Okay. And as you recall, the first time we saw Vampirella #1. I don't know how far we got in. I think about halfway through this box. Vampirella #2. This was comic magazine in black and white. Here's my shit. Did I stop? No. It's still recording. Amazing. Usually when the little cat knocked the whole tripod over, last time that happened, the show shut off. That would be kind of disappointing if I only got to issue 3 and it turned off. This is my terrible condition copy of Vampirella #3. I kind of want to finish my Coke because this cat is going to knock the Coke out of my hand and it's going to spill on these Vampirellas. This is what's going to happen. I'm like Edgar Casey. I can tell that's going to happen. So I'm going to, if you don't mind, It's like a living in a Tom and Jerry cartoon. The kitten annoys everybody. The other two kittens, the older cat, the dog. Drew, the dog, wasn't feeling too good. Looks like she's back in her good spirits.
Benny Cochran from 1957 here on WFUN 79M MSWU, the Tomb of Terror, Grottu Orloff.
All right, right. Yes, indeed. This is Von Baudet, the creator of Cheech Wizard, that did this great illustration. See, the spine is just, it looks like it was eaten by little varmints, to be honest with you. But I have a better quality copy of this Vampirella #3 bound in a book in the other room. But you saw that the other day, and I'm not going to show it to you again because I don't want to. But I'm about to move all the bookshelves over there in the library, and when I do that, I'm going to have to take all the books off the shelves to move them. So I'll show you all the books at that time. Maybe I'll do that Saturday. Because once I have the eye surgery, they say don't be moving heavy stuff or bending over for a while. Vampirella 4. Five. Frazetta cover. Six. That's Ken Kelly painting. Ken Kelly, some of you know, is the album artist for Kiss, that did Destroyer and Love Gun. Yeah, fantastic artwork in these magazines. This is issue 7. Here's Flash Gordon. Okay, issue 8. This is where the magazine changes its direction. Before, this Vampirella character was just a horror host, like the Crypt Keeper in the old Tales from the Crypt. She would be at the beginning and end of the story and tell you, you know, what you're about to hear is a scary story, whatever. But at this point, they give her her own storyline, and she becomes a continuing superhero story, superheroine story, with issue 8. It's where, and they'd had stories with her before, but they were silly little dumb, you know, cutesy things. But with this, she became a continuing character, and with her own little squad of followers. One was the descendant of Van Helsing, and it was her boyfriend. And well, anyway, you got to read the stories. This is issue 9, which has a very classic Wally Wood story in it. I'm saying all the same things I said the last time I did this. 10. See, I think I wrote all the ones that I need on the lid. I'm going to make sure this is accurate. So far, I'm not missing any. This says I need issue 16. Now, if I got issue 16, I should have crossed it off the top. So I'm going to see if I did or not. This is issue 11. Issue 12. I'm listening to my last radio show on WFUN. I'm about to move over to KLAF. I don't know when I'm going to start there. It's going to maybe I'll do one Saturday if I have a chance, but after I have my eye surgery, I don't know. Maybe around Christmas time I'll start doing that in earnest. This is September 71, issue 13. 14 from November of 71. You know, by this point, she'd actually already been merchandised. You see, Aurora was doing these model kits of torture chambers. They were small-scale little models compared to their classic ones. And they had Dr. Deadly and Frankenstein and a victim and all these different torture chamber devices. And then they had a little miniature Vampirella model kit, and it's only on. Let's see, when did they? Only issue 14, and she already has merchandise. 15 has the ad on the back for the model kit again. Aurora was in its last days, the model kit and toy company out of Hempstead, New York, and not long after that, they were bought up by Nabisco, which is not normally known as a toy company, and they didn't like the fact that Aurora was making torture chamber kits, so they quickly put an end to that. Okay, 15, and then I go to 17. So I am indeed missing number 16. So 16 is missing. So that is confirmed on this. Yeah. And according to this, I'm also missing 18. Let's see if that's the yes, because here's 19, which has that really classic Jose Gonzalez painting of Vampirella. It was used as a door poster, like life-size 6-foot door poster, with. So that was an anniversary issue. So yeah, I'm missing 18, September 1972. Here's an editorial ad on the back of this issue that's an anti-Vietnam War. And now September of 72, the war was pretty much at an end. It says, if you won't send in this coupon, shut up about the war. This is James Warren doing this. You who say all the right things about the war, but won't even bother to write your congressman, are prolonging the war by your inaction. You don't think it will do any good, but now there's a real chance it will. Now's the time when writing your congressman could make a crucial difference. The number of them who want to set a definite withdrawal date is growing. So is the number of congressmen who are sitting on the fence, who can push them off. They will back an active disengagement if they feel their constituencies will back them at home. They need to hear from you. They need a pile of evidence on their desk that will make them feel they can get reelected even if they speak out. It's an incredible notion that after all this, filling out a simple coupon and sending it to your congressman could stop the war, but just think it could. And if you're not yet old enough to vote, give this to someone who could. And the little coupon, oh, Kevin is calling me from Gotham City. I'll call him back after the show. To Congressman, House of Representatives, Washington, D.C. Dear Sir, I understand legislation is pending in Congress to end the war in Southeast Asia. As a concerned citizen, I urge you to support this legislation. If you do, you'll have my support. Sincerely. And it says, for the name of your congressman, call the League of Women Voters, Help Unsell the War, a project of clergy and laymen concern. I think it just says space contributed and message sponsored by the publisher. So, yeah, I don't know if Warren put together the ad or what, but anyway. Of course, by 72, the war was very unpopular. It was unpopular all along. But it's amazing how history has been rewritten. The war was brewing during the Kennedy administration. Kennedy didn't really want to get into it. And then magically, he was eliminated. And then LBJ becomes president, and then we're all in. And then when Nixon comes in wanting to end the war, and he wanted to end the war by escalating it and don't just win a war, don't just play war. You want to win in the war, you've got to end it. So he was trying to end it by bombing, and so a lot of people blame him for the whole war, but he was trying to end it. Ultimately, it did end during his presidency, but I think most people consider him the big problem with the war. But I don't know, big mess. It affected me personally. I was never in danger of the draft. I was born in '65, but my father was in training somewhere where my mother had to drive herself to the hospital when she was in labor. And then my father was off at the war, and he came back when I was just learning to walk. And my dad said, you were looking at me like, who's this guy? So that shit shouldn't have to happen. Yeah, I don't know. It's amazing how, I don't know. You know, they'll paint history whichever way they want. I heard Joseph McCarthy talking this morning on an old recording, and I said, he sounds exactly like the Republicans of today, and a lot of what he's saying actually did come true. But all growing up, you know, we had to read The Crucible in high school and everything, Arthur Miller, and everyone said this guy was the biggest villain of all 1950s McCarthyism. It's the word. And you listen to it's amazing how little audio you're able to find on the internet of him talking, and it almost sounds like he makes sense. I don't know. I don't want to say that until I hear more of what he said, but I always wonder how much are we being lied to about people in history. Okay, so who knows? What? Maybe not. I know, because you're not supposed to ever say anything good about him. Okay, so it's so I have what am I missing? 18. Okay, and then according to this, I'm not missing any more until 23. I showed you 19. Here's 20. And this is the poster that they advertised on the back. It was a very amazing poster. Here's another copy of number 20 that I got for $12 during the pandemic. It says 24, but it was half price. 21. 22. No, this is not. This is the 1972 annual. This was supposed to be on the cover of Vampirella #1 instead of that Frazetta painting with the moon behind him, her rather. But it wound up being used a couple of years later. Okay. 22, I remember seeing this on the newsstand when I was in second grade. I remember really thinking that was cool. This is advertising all the Warren magazines, creepy, eerie, Vampirella, and then they started a magazine called Dracula that reprinted some comics from either Spain or Italy. I don't think was sold on newsstands. I think you had to mail order that. Okay, so that's 22. And according to this, I'm missing 23 and 24. So here is 25. 26. Oh, this is the one that my mother let me buy when I was in second grade, and it was probably not. She didn't notice the. Yeah, it was not appropriate for her to buy this for me, but anyway, she bought it for me. This is so that was what, 26. So I am missing 27, and this reflects that. So here's 28. I think I've already shown you all of these. 29 from November of 73. So at this point, I'm in third grade. So I didn't see this one on the newsstand because when I was in San Antonio in third grade, it was hard to find these on the stands. This is Richard Corbin had become the big star artist at Warren at that point. For good reason. Amazing artist. 30. Hold on a second here. 27. I'm missing 27. Okay, yes. So then that's 30, 31. Yeah, then the Spirit came along. And this is March of 74. Okay. Yeah, I remember buying the first, so that would have been at the end of third grade. That one did show up on a newsstand, April in San Antonio. April 74, this is Vampirella, number 32. And I have another copy of Vampirella 32. Okay. 33. 34. This is from June of 74. That's the summer before my 4th grade year. This is 35. 36 from September of 74. 37. 38. And at the first annual Famous Monsters Convention. Where was that located at? Hotel Commodore, 42nd and Park Avenue, New York City. Wonder if that hotel's still there. 38. Okay, I am missing 39. Here's 40. On the other side, ooh, I could definitely upgrade 40. Yeah. Let's say that if there's a copy of 40 there, I could upgrade this. This on the back cover, this was not used as a cover, but it's an interesting painting. Is that a Ken Kelly painting? Yeah, this magazine's in real bad shape. Anyway, yeah, so let's just say 40 is something I need as well. I'm going to write on here 40 beat up. Oh, this is the Gotham City song that I tried to make it like T-Rex did a song about Gotham City comics. Some people call it low grade. I call it beat up. 40 beat up. Okay, according to this, I have everything until issue 58 now. So let's see what we got. Here's 41. And they started doing this magazine, Comics International. It was mostly Corbin art. I think I showed you all these last time. 42. 43. 44. I'd rather be in bed right now under a bunch of blankets because it's a cold night. Not a fit night out for man or beast. Here's 45. They get more use out of that Jose Gonzalez painting that was the poster. You can see the quality illustration of the Vampirella stories. She didn't always dress that way. Sometimes she wore, a little bit more clothing. Not very often. 45. 46. I think it retells her origin. 47. This has that great painting for the Famous Monsters Convention. It's still at the Hotel Commodore. That last one wasn't bagged and boarded. You flip through and you see all the great ads at the back. You join the Vampirella fan club and get a button and a card. I've got a card in the other room. You can get books that reprint a lot of these stories. They're probably cheap on Amazon. 47. I mean, if you're at this point, I wouldn't start from scratch trying to collect Vampirella. Just get books that reprint it, I guess. I mean, it's like you got other things to do in life. But you started decades ago like I did. Don't try to. That's the danger of doing these shows, is it makes people say, "Yeah, I got to get that too." And no, man. Yeah, that's the problem. It's like doing these shows is like holding up bottles of booze in front of alcoholics. It makes people who are into comics, oh, I got to get that too. And it's just, I think I showed this to you before. They're promoting a major motion picture now in production from Hammer Films coming your way in 1976. It never happened. This is the movie you've been waiting for. This would make a good poster. It never happened, unfortunately. 48, 49, 50. You know how good your hair looks the natural way? The thing is, to make it stay, you grease it and cream it and wet it. 51. Because Gillette's here with the dry look. Oh, I like that back cover Frankenstein illustration. I don't know. Buy them if you can find them. Just don't go nuts, man. 52. 53. This is a good time period here we're in mid 70s now. Okay, well, that's 53. Here's 54, which is we're up to September of 76, about the time that Chevy Chase left Saturday Night Live. I'm starting 6th grade. Charlie's Angels is on TV. We're still a few months away from the release of Star Wars, October 76. What's going on, folks? December 76. Okay, am I 58? Okay, according to this, Drew, you gotta stop, man. Okay, so I have 57. According to this, I'm missing 58. So let's see if that's correct. Drew, why are you messing with the cat, man? What's going on? Un-American behavior. 58. I should let Joseph McCarthy know about this un-American behavior. Drew, I was about to call her Joe. Yeah, 59, April of 77. They're advertising a great magazine on the back. The Rook. The Rook was a time traveler. He traveled around this time machine shaped like a rook chess piece. He went back, rescued his great-great-great-grandfather, I think, from the Battle of the Alamo. He had this robot that traveled through time with him. Master of all time. He was a descendant of the guy in the Time Machine, H.B.G. Wells' book, The Time Traveler, in that book. So. And he got his own magazine there for a while. 9. Here's 60. Drew, what are you doing, man? 60. If this show ends abruptly, it's because the dog and cat are fighting. $61. 62. 63. And now we're up to September of 77. So Star Wars is out by this point. What are you doing, Drew? 63. Just a second, ladies and gentlemen. Drew, what are you doing, man? Oh! Drew, don't eat this stuff, man. Okay, you want more of this? what was I on? 63, man. Okay, here's 64. At this point, they're advertising their Star Wars Spectacular. And we're at, well, when did they start that? Yeah, 64 is the first one with that on the cover. That's when everything fell apart in the whole comics world, in my opinion. When that started to be on the cover, Marvel, DC, Warren, everybody started. It wasn't a dramatic fall off, but it was a gradual decline in quality until by the late 80s, it was a very obvious decline. And by the 90s, it was like a total precipitous drop to destruction, doom. Yeah. Because it just seemed like, although I love Star Wars, it just took over and replaced horror with not even science fiction, because Star Wars wasn't science fiction, it was, fantasy. But here's 66. See, here's the Star Wars ad again. 67. Around this time period, this actress named Barbara Lee started to appear on the cover. They didn't have to hire someone to paint the cover, and they just had her. Well, here, this one, 68, has, ooh, that's bad. Well, it's a good painting, but it's got a bad thing there. At this point, Close Encounters came out. Star Wars came out in May of 77, and then I think Close Encounters came out around December of 77, a few months later. I almost would like to get an upgrade on this issue, but you know what? That's kind of, I'm being completely like a maniac with that. 69. Anyway, at this point, I think the rumor was they were going to do a Vampirella movie, finally. Not the Hammer one from 76. And she was going to play Vampirella. But it just didn't happen. This magazine on the back, they're advertising 1984, was James Warren's attempt to do their version of heavy metal, which was a magazine that National Lampoon put out with a lot of imported art from a French magazine called Metal Hurlant, something like that, which meant screaming metal. And it was a lot of adult, interestingly drawn stuff. It came out in 77, and then, well, I guess James Warren just tried to push it farther than heavy metal did. And it turned out to be very, it's got good artwork, great artwork in it, but it just feels like you want to take a shower after looking at 1984. It just really seems like a little unsavory. I would not really recommend 1984 and 1994. That's kind of when I started to lose respect for James Warren doing that magazine. Okay, 70 I am missing. Here's 71. '72. We're getting to the end of this short box. See, this issue of 1984 they're promoting here. Girl strapped to a rocket. It's a great painting by Richard Corbin. It's just, the magazine's just, ugh. Okay, here's another copy of 72. Okay, I've got a beat up copy of 72 and a good quality copy of 72. But the artwork's still good, even in this later period. It's still a good magazine. It's just, yeah. Vampirella stayed pretty good consistently throughout its run. It's just what's coming out now that's called Vampirella is nothing like this. Here's 73. And that looks more like a Bob Larkin painting. That looks more like a painting. Is it? Looks more like a painting I'd see on another company's magazines. It's good. I'm not knocking the painting. It just looks a little different, a little more super heroic. Okay. 73, 74. That's when I was vacuum cleaning during the middle of my radio show to annoy the station manager because the equipment wasn't working. And plus, it was my last episode, so I thought I'd just run the vacuum cleaner on live on the air. See, instead of monster stuff, it's just a bunch of Star Wars stuff. Nothing wrong with Star Wars stuff, but at least there wasn't back then. But I just like it squeezed all the monster stuff away. I always loved that original painting, that Hildebrandt Brothers painting. It's fantastic. Had the poster on my wall as a kid. I have the exact same poster, the actual physical same one upstairs in my comic book room on the wall today as a 60-year-old old man. Here's July 1979, number 79. 79 in 79. Here's all them. See Star Wars figures being sold in the back instead of monsters. 78, 79, 80. I'm missing 80. Here's 81. Okay, 80 I am missing. Looks like I was missing 82. I scratched it out. So 82 must be a recent. I don't know. 82. I don't see. What is this one? I don't know. Anyway, I can't tell what this is. There's no number on it. Oh, yeah, this is 82. So I guess I got it more recently. I don't know. 82. So I'm not missing 82. I am missing 83, it says. Okay. Here's 85. This looks like a painting on the side of a van. And the logo, they changed the logo. Very unfortunate. Terrible logo. The original logo was a classic. This is March of 1980. Really, when the 1980s came along is when everything started to go to hell. Okay, so that's 85. So I'm missing 84. I'm apparently missing 87. I think this painting looks like, it looks terrible. Well, I don't know. I mean, I guess it's okay. 86, missing 87. Here's 88. At this point, they're selling Battlestar Galactica coats. You imagine how horribly you would have been beaten if you'd worn one of these to school. Damn. Well, they weren't that expensive. A men's jacket was $39.95. Well, it's all relative. Money had a different value then. So I'm missing through. Okay. I might be playing this music too loud. What do you think? Start down a little bit. What am I thinking? I'm going to get I got to remember to call Kevin when I'm done with this show. Okay. What is going on here? 89. There's nothing written here. I guess I have everything from this point on. Is that true? Here's 90. 91. That's Ambrose the cat tearing through here. That logo did not last long. Maybe it was only on that one issue. Okay, that was 91. So I am missing 92. Let me write that on this lid. I was looking, making sure I wasn't wearing the shirt backwards. 92. Although by this point, a lot of them were reprints and stuff. Okay, there's 93. Here's 94. 95. 1996. We're up to May of 1981 now. I think that Warren folded about the time I got out of high school. So this is October of 81, issue number 100. Did I have 99? Okay, I'm missing 97, 90, 97, 98, and 99. 98, 99. Okay, here's 101. Again with the Battlestar Galactica. 102. 103. It's a lot like the cover for that showcase with that character Dolphin that was something that sat in quarter bins for decades, and then all of a sudden, DC showcase, it has a girl swimming just like that. Then now all of a sudden it's real valuable. And before I could ever buy it, I don't know why it's valuable. I guess because the cover's striking looking. I don't know. Okay, 104. Or maybe they used her as a character in something I never read. There's 104. Missing 105. Here's 106. When did this magazine end? I don't remember. The earlier issues would be more of the ones I would really be seeking after, but if I could fill in any holes, it's good, you know. Okay, that's 106. So I'm missing 107 and 108. Here's 109. Again, Star Wars. Ooh, 112. Now we're to E.T. Wait, what was that? I don't know. Okay, 112, 10, 11. I'm missing 110, 111. Oh, I'm missing quite a bit of these magazines, aren't I? 112. Oh, okay. This is after, then I guess, I don't know which one was its final. I guess 112 was the final issue. 113 is later. Vampirella returns, but it is not James Warren anymore. It doesn't say James Warren. It just says Vampy 113, Exotic Creature of the Night. And it's a new company, I believe, Harris. And it says the saga of the delicious Draculon continues. So this is a sought-after issue because I don't know if they didn't print many, but I found it pretty easily at the Forum 303 Mall in Arlington, Texas. And I thought, oh, man, Vampirella's back. Hold on a second. I think I had a booger in my nose the entire time that I did this show. I can't see in the mirror well enough to even know. Okay. So this is the only issue I have of that Comics International that was advertised on the back. Cover's kind of more like a coloring book, more thick stock. And it's all beautiful color Richard Corbin stories. So this would be you see this book for sale, it's worth getting. Comics International. And then this is a spin-off from Vampirella, Panther. The Panther Girl. I think these are all stories from Vampirella. This is a rip-off magazine here because Ralph Bakshi put out a Lord of the Rings movie. He was going to make a sequel to it, but it just didn't do well enough. It was an animated Lord of the Rings movie in the summer of, the Christmas of, I believe, 79. So they put out Ring of the Warlords, thinking that might fool people that are interested in Lord of the Rings into thinking they were getting, and they used a great painting from a cover of Eerie, And then what's inside is a bunch of stories reprinted from Creepy and Eerie that are kind of fantasy, Tolkien kind of like stories. Beautiful artwork. And this great Wally Wood story. Remember, Wally Wood was the guy that drew the original, did the sketch art for the Mars Attacks Martians. So, yeah, some of this is inappropriate looking stuff. But it's a lot of great, and there's some Wally Wood art. Yeah. Ring of the Warlords. I don't think this is worth much. Maybe you could get it cheap. Okay. And they would do these little issues like Galactic Wars comics. And they'd take space stories that they had in Creepy and Eerie and put them in here. But in little stories about Battlestar Galactica, and they even show Flash Gordon. I guess they're trying to say, look how much Flash Gordon looks like Apollo in Battlestar Galactica. But and then ads for, Star Wars stuff in the back. Because it kind of looks like Galactica, and Wars looks like Star Wars. Oh well, you gotta make money somehow. And then Indiana Jones comes out, so they take this strip that was in the 1984 magazine, and I think they clean it up a little bit and take some of the cursing out, and maybe clean up some of the nudity, and put out Rex Havoc, Raiders of the Fantastic, and try to sell it to people that had just seen Raiders of the Lost Ark. And so it's good that they cleaned it up a little bit, because they had pushed it too far. And in some cases it was, this is still, it's still kind of inappropriate. But yes, that's what they're trying to do, is sell that. They even make it look like the Indiana Jones font. And it's good. I'm not knocking it. But if a parent bought it thinking it was an Indiana Jones magazine, it may not have ended well. Here's Blazing Combat, which is the war magazine that Warren put out, because Warren was trying to revive EC, basically. And EC had the horror magazines, and it had horror and comics and war comics. And this, this is a Frazetta cover. Frazetta worked for EC as well, and this is mid '60s. Problem is that the basic changes, the armed forces, PXs, probably didn't want to stock a magazine that was very anti-war, but just didn't make the military look in the best light. This is a special reprinting some of the stories of the Rook from Eerie magazine. See, he kind of looks a little like Han Solo. He's like this Western guy, but with a laser pistol and everything. And he's got that robot. Then they gave him his own magazine. This is really good stuff. I've made some songs about the Rook for my radio show. Look at this Richard Corbin cover for this, his first issue of the Rook. Beautiful. I wonder if I have all the Stay Back Ambrose. I was just wondering the other day. No. I was wondering if I had all the issues of the Rook. So let's see if I do. This is issue 2. I remember trying to buy them at the time. I would get them at Lone Star Comics. That's 2. This is issue... I'm missing 3. If anyone has a line on Rook number 3, let me know. Because I got this... once I get this cataract surgery, I should be able to read a little bit more easily without immediately falling asleep. There's something about these cataracts that just make you want to fall asleep all the time. And then I can, start reading old stuff again. Okay. Here's Rook number 6. Looks like he's meeting up with Sherlock Holmes. but I don't have 5. So I'll write that. Yeah. 6. Here's number 8. So I need number 7. Again with the Battlestar Galactica. The Tauntaun, everything. Yeah, good artwork in these books. Okay, that's 6, 8. Here's 9. I don't know if it's the last issue, but and then here's the first issue of Vampirus Carmilla, which is a modern magazine from the modern time period. This is March of 2021. That's made to look like the old Vampirella books, so I put it in the same box. It's currently being published. Here's issue 2, and sometimes they'll use San Julian, who did Vampirella covers, and he's still around, to paint covers. Jose Gonzalez and Frazetta, unfortunately, are no longer with us. So, like with issue 3, they use a pre-existing Frank Frazetta painting. And I have 2 copies of this because I think I was getting it from a comic store back in Texas, and they got a damaged copy, and he said, they're sending me another one free. You just keep this damaged one, and then you can buy the new one when it shows up. So I went up with 2. 4. I'm gonna have a lot of these missing. 5. You can see how much it looks like what you've been looking at. They do an excellent job of, and this is the last Richard Corbin art ever before he passed away. They got it on the cover there. That's number 6. Number 7. Let's see, they've got the back issues very much like Warren. Not very much like, exactly like Warren. No, I have 2 copies of that one. Here's 8. Ooh, and so I'm missing a bunch. Here's 13. That really looks like a late 60s Warren cover. That's fantastic. 13. It's like a time machine. Here's issue 14. Then I'm missing 15. This is a really good new version of a, I don't know, it was either on Vampirella or another creepy or eerie, a very similar painting. But this is San Julian. So it's not like he's copying someone else, he's just doing a new version of one of his old paintings. Here's 18. I've got a few upstairs I need to file in here. But I don't want to go all the way up to the attic right now. Here's issue 21, reprinting a cover from, I think, Erie. This was a classic painting, Frazetta painting. Here's 22. That's also a San Julian painting. 24 is reprinting a Frazetta painting that was actually on a Warren magazine. 25. Here's one. There's my wife. Oh, shit. It's okay. My wife, I saw my wife calling. I almost damaged this magazine. But that's the last one I've got here. Then it goes into Shutter. Let me go see what my wife needs. Yeah. Okay. Let me pause this up. What time is it? Hold on. Well, she's on her lunch break, so I'm going to go up and hang out with her. So this is what I'm missing. I need Vampirella number 16. 18, 23, 24, 27, 39. I'd like to get a better quality copy of 40, maybe 58, 70, 76, 77. Losing my voice. 78, 80, 83, 84, 87, 92, 97, 98, 99, 105, 107, 108, 110, and 111. In Rook, I need 3, 5, and 7. So, this is it visually. This is the crude way that I do my, that's what I need of Rook. Okay. So, let me turn these lights off. It's time for me to hit the sack, man. It's just too late. Tomorrow it's going to be a really cold day. I don't know if you can see the snow that's still out there. I was supposed to get some boxes delivered of some food. It looks like it didn't come because of the weather, maybe. Anyway, I will talk to you guys real soon.